Hello everyone, and welcome to another chess video. This is Seikster again. I hope you guys had a good St. Patrick's Day yesterday. I live in New York City, so obviously mine was fun. I went to the city and saw the parade and had a good time. So I hope you all did as well. For today's game, I chose a game I played, as today was the first time I beat a player over the rating of 2000 on ICC. My opponent was rated just about 2000, he was rated 2007. So I was very glad about this. It was my first win of the day, and my first game of the day actually. And not only was it a win, but it was a very fun game full of sacrifices and counter-sacrifices, and even counter-sacrifices. So hopefully you guys will have a fun time watching this game, and I had a fun time playing it and analyzing it. So I chose a couple main motifs for today's game. One of them is, I don't think this is said enough, but it's certainly something to go over. Stay confident when playing higher rated players. I know many times I kind of freak out when I see like a 2100 or a player rated 2200, and that makes it a little bit easier for them. But if you stay confident and play them as you would play anybody, you'll do a good job, or at least you'll have a good game, even if you lose. My second motif is look for breaking moves. This is very important. At all times in the game, at all times in mid-game, you should pay attention to where your breaking moves are with your pawn breaks. Always know where they are, and play them at the best possible moments. And so, even though I won today's game, looking back in analysis, I could tell that if I played a breaking move, I could have done much better in my game. And so, I notice I make the same mistake in many games, and so from now on, I plan to always keep track of what my breaking moves are, and if I get the chance in future games, I'll play them. And the last kind of point I had was that Sacs emphasize the weak points of your opponents, and they emphasize the strong points in your position. And so that'll be made a little more clear when we continue with the video. And so I've been playing the French defense exclusively now, so that's why you're seeing pretty much all my videos are in this defense, especially the winner or variation. I'm still learning. And we have Queen G4, most aggressive line. And the most popularly played variation is Queen takes G7, but he went in for the poison pawn variation, inviting my queen to attack the C2 pawn. And of course, he has to prevent Queen C3 check, just outright winning the rook. So I accepted the gambit, and he played knight Ge2, which was an inaccuracy. I mean, it doesn't look very natural anyway. I don't really see why he played this. The f3 square is actually the best place for the knight because he wants to protect his pawn chain, with the base being on d4. So because he moves the knight here, when he moves it away, this d4 square will become weak again. The book move is rook a c1, and then trading off the queens, I'm up a pawn, but it's just about equal. And black doesn't even have to castle because the queens are off, so he could just move his king up later in the game. Also possible would have been, and the computer gives this as the best move, queen takes g7. And of course he can't recapture the pawn because the queen's here. And just trading off the queens. And the point here that isn't there in the most winner variations is that white's c-file is open. And so I think that's a strong point to make, because in normal winnowers there are double pawns on the c-file, and so he doesn't have the luxury of having all this c-file pressure for the rook, and so it's harder for black to choose where to put his king. The queen side is open, and so that's really one of the main points of the poison pawn variation, I believe. Anyway, after he played knight ge2, I castled. Then we have rook ac1, and I tried to trade off queens. I tried again, and we have this position. And of course he goes for a straight kingside attack. I believe he should concentrate a little bit more on development, and white does look pretty cramped, especially with this knight on e2. And well, I played queen e4, anticipating the h5 pawn push. But better would have been f6, which is a thematic pawn break in the French defense, which I really should have looked for. Because if you notice, after this move, it's harder for white to castle kingside, and his king may become stranded for the rest of the game. And opening this f-file will put tons of pressure on this f2 pawn. And best play would continue like this, bringing the queen up to threaten, take, and then pushing the queen in. So this is more or less a forced line, and this is forced, the trade of queens, because if he ignores this queen and doesn't trade off queens, I even threaten knight takes d4 due to the pin on the e2 knight. So after trading off and developing, black seems much better. This is more or less a one game for black, I would say. But anyway, I played queen e4, and he pushed my queen again. And here we have the first sacrifice of the game. It's a long-term sacrifice. And you see, if I played my queen back, I would have had to face g4, and this is nearly trapping my queen, I think. In fact, the computer says that I have to play knight takes d4 anyway here, just to avoid the trapping of my queen. So this was a long-term sacrifice, because after this, which I saw, of course he's attacking this knight that's now unprotected. I gave 2 pieces for a rook, but his king is stranded in the middle, and my queen's there. And so I figured that this would be my long-term compensation, and that, you know, I still had drawing chances, and I kept that in the back of my mind when I played this. That I have a pawn. I have a pawn in a 2 pieces versus rook endgame, so it was very drawable if things didn't go exactly as planned. So here I go, planning to bring my bishop out. Finally putting that knight to a, I would say, fairly useless square. I mean, it's not doing much, but he's just trying to develop the bishop. The f3 square was really the best place for the knight. And just a little tactic. You can pause the video to maybe see why it works. But he took the bishop. But better would have been g2, g3, and best play would have followed us like this. And the computer gives us as, wow, actually, winning advantage for black. But I would say strong advantage for black. Maybe not winning just yet. Just because the king is stranded in the middle. But he took, and thus gave up the exchange. And now I'm material up. 2 rooks against 3 minor pieces. And he tried to trap my queen here, but it doesn't really work. Taking the knight. And here we go. I actually managed to find the best move, which was this. And now, this is another sacrifice which emphasizes my strong points and my opponent's weak points. The point of this sacrifice is to just desperately get to the c file. The c file is the only open file on the board, and so this bishop was the only piece preventing that. Now after rook fc8, I am willing to sacrifice the material back just to get on the c file. And then his king would be very much exposed. Best play, he actually didn't accept my sacrifice. Best play would have been taking, and this seems winning for black. King's just attacked on both sides, and it's very hard to defend. But anyway, he played knight takes e6. Unfortunately, this was a blunder. After check, he of course was hoping for something like pawn takes, after which he could take back with his queen. And well, actually the computer still says that he's winning, or that I'm winning, due to my material advantage. Yeah, this still doesn't look to be very good for white. Yeah, huge advantage to black. But anyway, going back. Yeah, I guess he desperately tried to break through into my position, but I found something that maybe he didn't account for. Queen takes e5, proving completely refuting his idea, because I'm defending that mate threat with a threat of my own. Passively moving his knight back, and the game pretty much ended soon here after this. An exchange up with lots of pressure, and after this he resigned due to the mate threat on g2. So it wasn't perfectly played, but I thought it was a good game. To emphasize my 3 points: for stay confident, look for breaking moves, which is very important, and I think that's probably the biggest point of today's game. Look for breaking moves, and Sacs emphasize weak points of the opponent and strong points in your position. So hopefully you got something out of today's video. The main reason I posted this was just because it was my first time beating a player over the rating of 2000. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to try to annotate some more games after this. And, well, I wish you all a happy day, and we'll have a good one. Bye.